In 1969 Pasadena, a Hispanic couple seek help from a young medium, Sean Sandina. Apparently, their son stole a silver necklace from a gypsy wagon, and he was cursed for it. The boy tried to return it, but the gypsy refused to take it back. Afterwards, they bring the boy inside, and as the lady performs her incantations, the boy begins to see visions and hear voices. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and an invisible force knocks everybody down, including the boy's parents. The little boy runs out of the room, but the force pushes him off the top floor, and he falls. As he tries to regain himself, the ground begins to open up, and hands drag him down to hell. The scene shifts 40 years later, to present-day Los Angeles. Bank loan officer Christine Brown rides to work while reciting her affirmations. At work, she dreams of becoming the next assistant manager. After finishing with a client, she approaches her boss, Jim Jacks, and reminds him about the vacant position. Jim tells her he has her in mind but also mentions another contender, Stu Rubin. Christine argues that Stu is just a newcomer, but Jim counters that Stu is hardworking and, most importantly, able to make tough decisions. Before entering his office, Jim asks Christine to bring him lunch on her way back from break. Stu steps in and asks her for the same favor, and Christine leaves. She heads over to the college where her boyfriend, Clayton Dalton, works as a professor. They catch up, and before leaving, Christine hands Clayton an envelope containing an old antique coin she found at the bank. Clayton is happy and says he'll add it to his coin collection. They kiss, and as Christine leaves, Clayton gets a call from his mother. She checks up on her son, and Clayton mentions that Christine stopped by, though she has already left. Clayton's mother isn't a big fan of Christine, especially after learning she's a farm girl. She suggests another girl with a high degree, but Clayton defends Christine, unaware that Christine overheard everything. Back at work, Stu tells Christine she got his order wrong, but Christine isn't having it, and Stu backs off. Christine returns to her desk and resumes her work. Her eyes drift between the empty assistant manager's office and Stu cozying up to Jim. Her attention is brought back to the present when an elderly woman sits before her. She is Sylvia Ganesh, a Romanian woman seeking help. Sylvia asks for an extension on her mortgage, explaining that she has fallen behind due to illness. Christine tells her the mortgage is overdue, but Sylvia pleads for help. Christine decides to consult Jim. He says they've already given Sylvia 2 extensions and a third is too much, leaving the decision up to Christine. Christine steps out of her boss's office, and when her eyes fall on the vacant assistant manager's chair, she makes her choice: I'll take care of it. She returns to Sylvia and humbly denies her request. Sylvia pleads, saying she's lived in that house for over 30 years, but Christine refuses. Eventually, Sylvia stands to leave, but in a last-ditch effort, she falls to her knees and begs Christine. This causes a scene, and Christine calls security. Embarrassed by the onlookers, Sylvia accuses Christine of shaming her before being gently escorted out. As she leaves, Christine tries to apologize, but Sylvia lunges at her, muttering strange Romanian curses. Jim later tells Christine she handled the situation well. That evening, before leaving, Jim gives Christine some documents that need signing before the next day. In a good mood, he tells her she's at the top of his list for the promotion. After work, Christine goes to her car but notices Sylvia's vehicle parked directly in front of hers. Uneasy, she decides to leave quickly, but fate isn't done with her yet. As she sits in her car, she spots a handkerchief sliding out of Sylvia's car and floating toward hers, drifting all the way to the back. Christine turns, and sees Sylvia inside her car. Sylvia attacks, and they struggle. Christine manages to slam her car into another vehicle, causing Sylvia to lose balance and fly into the front seat. They fight again until Christine kicks Sylvia out of the car, locks the doors, and gloats. But Sylvia rises with a brick, smashes the window, pulls Christine out, and snatches a button from her coat. She curses the button, places it in Christine's hand.
Soon it will be you who comes begging to me.
Christine faints. When she regains consciousness, she calls the police. Clayton arrives and takes her home. As they walk to the car, Christine begins to regret denying Sylvia's request, but Clayton reassures her. As he opens the car door, a sudden gust of wind blows past Christine, and she hears strange whispers. Shaken, she begs Clayton to let her get her fortune read. He reluctantly agrees. They enter a psychic shop, where Clayton mocks the trinkets, clearly skeptical of the supernatural. A man named Ram Jazz greets them. Christine explains she wants her fortune told, and Ram takes her inside. They sit, but Clayton argues with Ram about science versus the supernatural until Christine hushes him. Ram begins his seance, but when he looks deeply into Christine, a flash of images fills his mind, and he jolts back in fear. Making an excuse that he is tired, he tries to end the session. Christine insists he tell her what he saw. Ram reluctantly reveals that an evil spirit has latched onto her, most likely the result of a curse. On the way home, Clayton dismisses Ram as a con man trying to scare them, but Christine isn't convinced. When they arrive at her house, Clayton tells her to get some rest, reassuring her that everything will be fine in the morning. He kisses her goodnight and leaves while Christine locks the doors. Later, as Christine works on her laptop, she begins hearing strange noises, but snaps out of it when her food is ready. She heads to the kitchen and takes it out, but then she hears creaking noises coming from the attic. The sounds continue down to the porch, and even the metal gate starts rattling. Eventually, her lights go out and a strong force blows the windows open. When things calm down, Christine finds a flashlight, but then she sees a shadowy figure on the wall. It keeps shifting forms until it becomes a demonic shape before smacking her halfway across the kitchen. Panicked, she calls her boyfriend. When Clayton arrives, he asks who punched her in the face. Christine tries to explain that no one was in the house, or at least, no one she could see. Clayton calls a doctor, and after she calms down, he sits with her. They chalk the incident up to trauma and say it will pass soon. Clayton then invites Christine to his parents' house, and she agrees. The next morning, Clayton drives her to work, jokingly telling her not to piss off any old ladies at the bank today. Christine sits at her desk but hears a buzzing noise from inside her stomach. Stu approaches and asks her to finish tutoring him on loan procedures. Christine resists but changes her mind when Stu threatens to report her to Jim. As they talk, Christine begins hallucinating that Sylvia Ganesh is there. She loses control and shouts at the bold woman, not realizing it's Stu. Already drifting away from reality, she's shaken even more when, seconds later, she gets a call and her nose starts bleeding. Jim confronts her and tries to help, but suddenly Christine vomits blood uncontrollably, even splattering Jim. Humiliated, she bolts out of the building. Stu seizes the chance to steal the McPherson loan deal from her desk. Christine goes to Sylvia's home and knocks. A young girl answers. Christine claims to be Sylvia's friend and wants forgiveness. The girl eyes her suspiciously but eventually lets her in. Inside, Christine sees people gathered with food and wine, along with pictures of Sylvia. Confused, she stumbles and accidentally knocks over Sylvia's corpse. It falls on her, and horrified mourners rush to pull it off.
Still going to make everything alright for her? Deserve everything that is coming to you.
Realizing she's too late, Christine flees and goes to Ram Jazz. Ram explains that she's being hunted by the Lamia, a demon that torments its victim for 3 days before dragging them to hell. He says the Lamia can only pursue someone who possesses the cursed object. Christine pulls out the button. She suggests burning it, but Ram warns it cannot be destroyed so easily. Instead, he advises her to appease the demon with a blood sacrifice. Christine refuses, saying she's a vegetarian and an animal rights volunteer. Ram grimly replies that the Lamia doesn't care about her morals when it comes to her soul. He gives her a book and sends her home. At home, Christine flips through the book while petting her cat. She can't bring herself to harm an animal and sets the book aside. But soon the noises return, creaking, banging, footsteps. A shadowy figure appears, startling her into running upstairs. Terrified, she calls Clayton, but he's too busy with work to notice. She tries again, but her phone dies suddenly. The windows blast open and a force lifts her into the air, tossing her around before slamming her to the floor. Shaken, Christine grabs a knife, calls for her cat, and reluctantly sacrifices it. Just as she finishes burying it in the yard, Clayton walks out. He asks what she's doing, noting he called her office and got no response. He notices a red stain on her shirt, but Christine insists it's tomato sauce. Clayton suggests postponing dinner at his parents' house, but Christine insists she's fine, confident after the sacrifice. That night at Clayton's home, she meets his family. His mother eyes her judgmentally, unimpressed by Christine's farm girl background. Over dinner, the parents ask questions, and Christine answers politely. When asked about her parents, she reveals her father passed away and she's distant from her alcoholic mother. Clayton's mother is surprised by her honesty, admitting her own father was an alcoholic but she was too ashamed to say it. She praises Christine for being bold. The tension eases, and Christine starts to feel accepted. But then dessert arrives. Christine cuts into her cake, only to see an eyeball staring back. Startled, she stabs it, and blood gushes out. She coughs up a fly, the room erupts in noise, and finally Christine snaps, hurling a glass at the door and yelling. The chaos ends, leaving her mortified. She excuses herself and storms to Ram, accusing him of being a fraud since the sacrifice didn't work. Ram insists the Lamia is too strong for simple offerings. He suggests another method, a seance with a powerful medium. But it will cost $10,000. At work the next day, Christine tries asking Jim for an advance, claiming a family illness, but Jim gives her bad news, the McPherson deal was cancelled. He explains that when he called the regional office, he discovered the deal had already gone to First National. It doesn't look good for either of them. Jim tells her the assistant manager position is off the table and might go to Stu. Devastated, Christine sells off some belongings for cash, but it isn't enough. That night, she breaks down over ice cream until Clayton comforts her. He reveals he already paid Ram the $10,000. Christine asks why, and he replies, "Because I love you. If you believe this is real, then I'll believe it too." Overwhelmed, she hugs him. Later, they arrive at the medium's home. Clayton offers to go inside, but Christine insists she must do it alone. He nods, and she enters to meet Sean Sandina, the same medium from 40 years ago. Sean admits she once failed to save a soul from the lamia, but declares she won't fail this time. That night, Christine, Sean, and Ram prepare a seance. A goat is brought in. Sean explains the plan. Christine must touch the goat to transfer the lamia into it, and Milos, the assistant, will kill it. They begin chanting. The lamia arrives, possessing Sean. Speaking through her, it demands Christine's soul. Christine manages to grab Sean's hand and force the spirit into the goat, but when Milos tries to kill it, the goat bites him, passing the demon into his body. Chaos erupts. The lamia mocks Christine, vomiting up her dead cat, rejecting her sacrifice. Ram calls to Sean, who uses the last of her strength to banish the spirit. They cheer, until Sean collapses and dies. Afterward, Christine mourns, believing it's over. But Ram warns her Sean only banished the lamia temporarily, the demon is still after you. Christine begs for another way out. Ram says there is one last option, give the cursed object away as a gift. But doing so condemns the recipient to hell. She has until sunrise. He seals the button in an envelope and hands it to her. On the way home, Christine tells Clayton everything will be fine. Clayton mentions their planned trip the next morning, and Christine promises to meet him at the station after she finishes something. Suddenly, an old man stumbles into the road, and Clayton slams the brakes. Christine's bag falls alongside other papers. She gets home, and when she checks her bag, she doesn't find the envelope. She frantically searches the littered papers and fears the envelope is gone, only to find it again and sigh with relief. She thanks Clayton for trusting her and says goodnight. Later, at a cafe, she scans the room, debating who to give the envelope to. She nearly offers it to a man on life support but changes her mind after seeing his happy wife. Finally, she calls Stu, blackmailing him by threatening to expose his theft of the McPherson deal. Stu panics and rushes to the cafe, begging. Christine tries to gift him the envelope but at the last second changes her mind. Still torn, she notices a news report about Sylvia's death. Desperate, she asks Ram if she can gift the curse to a dead person. He says yes. Christine drives to the cemetery, digs up Sylvia's grave, and forces the envelope into her mouth. The rain turns the soil to muck, nearly swallowing Christine alive, but she escapes. The next morning, Christine prepares for her trip. Jim calls, telling her that Stu tried to frame her but was caught in his lie and fired. Christine's chance at assistant manager is now better than ever. Christine heads to the train station and stops by a store to buy a new coat before meeting Clayton. She thanks him for always believing in her and admits it was her fault Sylvia lost her home. Clayton reassures her. Christine shows off her new coat. He smiles but asks what happened to the old one. She says she threw it away, never wanting to see it again. Clayton frowns. That's a shame. I found the button from your coat last night. The shocking revelation freezes Christine in horror. And then...
Oh my god!
Hey, hey, hey! Oh God! Oh God, no!